Films for people who are just really starting to get into watching movies, cinema. If you want to use the fancy word that they use, they use cinema in reviews. That lets you know they're a serious professional movie watcher. They're movies. Damn it. I already got off track with this. I'm sorry. 100 of them. We take 100 of them. I'll rank them from 100 to 1 for any of you new movie watchers out there. Trying to figure out what's good to check out. Yeah, you find a good bit of them on streaming services and for rent here and there. And each one of them gets a 100-word review from me, your host of this bit of business, your boy Seed. And each one gets a podcast. And this podcast comes out one a day for the first 100 days of 2020, which already feels like this year's been 3 years long. Yesterday's entry gave us a classic Kurosawa film, Seven Samurai. Yeah, I mean, just go check that out, man. 3 hours, 27 minutes, something like that. If you got a rainy Sunday, you got nowhere to run to, baby. Or if you're in the middle of, if you're listening to this, round about when they go out, a lot of us are isolating and quarantining due to the virus that's hitting us pretty bad, man. This is a perfect time to just sit down if you've never seen it, or if it's been a while, refresh yourself and watch Seven Samurai again. But that's the 1950s we're dealing with. Today's entry, we go back even further to the 1940s. Number 13 on our list is Casablanca, 1942, directed by Michael Curtis. And let's get into this 100-word review for Casablanca. Possibly the best romantic drama film, Casablanca showcases every talent Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman possess. Set against the backdrop of World War II, Bogart's supposedly neutral, Rick Blaine, is forced to choose between the woman he loves and helping her husband fighting against the Germans. Blaine's Cafe American, is as much a character in the film as the actors, thanks to the amazing set design. Aided by roles from Sidney Greenstreet and Peter Lorre, Casablanca is an impeccable blend of romance, drama, and humor. With the addition of the song As Time Goes By, Casablanca is mandatory for every collection. Man, it still boggles my mind that people have not seen Casablanca. Oh, it boggles my mind. I've ranted before about people not watching black and white films because black and white films are boring. It makes no sense to me. A good story is a good story, and Casablanca is a great story. Grandly imparts to the performances from Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman. Bogart is in his usual Bogart form. Ingrid Bergman, A, has never looked better in a film than Casablanca, and B, is definitely holding her own and going toe-to-toe with Humphrey Bogart. They both pull their weight. Sidney Greenstreet, my man! Sidney Greenstreet, one of, I think, like 4 or 5 movies he did with Bogart. I prefer his role in Maltese Falcon more than I do here. He's just over-the-top ridiculous in Maltese Falcon. He's much more subdued in Sidney Greenstreet in this joint. You know, Peter Lorre gets about 5 minutes of creepy screen time here. He always just sounds right creepy. So if you're not sure what exactly Casablanca is about, the quickest rundown I can give you is this. Casablanca is in a small part of Africa controlled by the French. At this point in World War II, I do believe it is Nazi-occupied France, but they do not occupy Casablanca. They're there, but they don't quite occupy it. I'm still not sure how the politics of that work out. And this is the place of just refugees. Like everybody in Casablanca, for the most part, is looking to get out of Casablanca. And at the beginning of this movie, word gets out that 2 German couriers have been murdered. Their letters of traveling, their letters of transition, their papers have been stolen. So there's 2 letters of transit that are out there floating in the wild, and whoever gets their hands on those will be able to A, get out of Casablanca, and B, move freely across Europe with those letters. So the question is, who has these letters, who's looking for these letters, and all that kind of good stuff. And of course, they come into possession of our character, Rick Blaine, played by Humphrey Bogart, and then things kind of progress from there. A little wrench is thrown into the plan when a dude who's been subverting the Germans, their number one thorn in the side, Victor Laszlo, arrives in Casablanca with his wife, Ingrid Bergman. There's a bit of a checkered past between the two of them, and then things happen. It is an amazing movie. One of my favorite bits of business. I have two really great bits of business from this movie. The first one being towards the beginning of the movie, as you see the camera pan through the Cafe American, you go to all these various people at their tables. Every one of them is scheming and plotting different various ways how to get out of Casablanca. And that lets you know exactly what you need to know at the very beginning of this movie, that this is a group of desperate people. And then you throw this grenade of letters of transit into the mix. And it doesn't help that the Cafe American is located like at the end of an airstrip, so they can all see the successful people leaving, which drives them even more desperate. The other thing I like, which is one of the few, maybe only bit of comedy in this movie, when the police chief has to shut down Casablanca and he's searching if, they're just drumming up a reason to shut the place down, and he's like, shocked. I'm shocked that there's gambling in this place. And then someone walks up, here's your winnings, sir. Oh, thank you. That gets me every time. Look, if you haven't seen Casablanca, man, Michael Curtis puts his ankles in this movie, and I haven't even scratched the surface of what's going on here with the corrupt police chief, with your main antagonist, who's a member of the Third Reich, who's looking for this Victor Laszlo, trying to make sure he does not escape his clutches yet again. So much happening in this movie, and then, a lot of this movie is set up, but when the chips start falling, the chips start fucking falling. That's when things get really good. So check it out. Number 13 on our list, Casablanca.